You only need 3 things to sell on LinkedIn. And the thing is, most people only pick one. And that's why they don't end up succeeding. The 3 things that you need in order to sell on LinkedIn is an offer that's in demand, an outcome that you get for your client, and an audience that you sell to, or also known as avatar. You have to have these 3 things in order to be successful on LinkedIn. You have to have one offer, one outcome, one avatar. And what I'm gonna run you through is how to build your offer, how to choose your avatar, your audience, and what the outcome you should go with should be. That's what I'm gonna run through in this video so that you have the exact foundation that you need to sell on LinkedIn and be successful. That is the key. So, as I mentioned, one offer, one outcome, one avatar. This is the foundation of selling on LinkedIn. This was something that I really struggled with. I just couldn't have specificity in my offer. I couldn't have specificity in my avatar. I couldn't do either of those things, especially when I first started my business at age 18. I made every single mistake under the sun. I tried to do everything all at once. I tried to do social media marketing. I tried to do search engine optimization, website design, AI automation, drone filming, video editing. I tried to do everything. And the thing is, when you try and do everything, you don't resonate with anyone. That's the problem. Because at any one time, a client could be looking for one thing that they want to solve. And especially if they're a business owner, they've established a problem and they go, okay, I need to solve this problem. That's all they're looking for. They're looking to solve that one problem. And so when you say to them, hey, I do all these things, it doesn't feel as though it's specific to them. And so they are much more likely to go with someone who just does that one thing because they know they'll do it well. That was the problem I kept coming up against. When I would meet clients and I'd say all the things that I would do, they assumed I had quality in none of them because I did so much. And that they were right. I would much rather be so good at one thing, the leader in one specific element, than mediocre across all disciplines. The mistake that I also see is they have an offer and it may be quite specific, but they don't sell to an avatar that's specific. For example, business owners. It's not very specific. And when I meet someone and they say, yes, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna market for them and we're gonna grow their business by at least, 20, 30%, whatever the metric might be. And then I go, okay, so who are you talking to? And they go, oh, we're talking to business owners. It's not specific to me. I am a business owner, but if I saw someone say I target business owners, I'm like, okay, well, that's a lot of people. How do I know that you can help me specifically? That's the question you gotta answer on LinkedIn. And for myself, the breakthrough that I had was the moment I picked one specific person I could help, everything changed because I could get them rapid results in such a short time frame because I was only focusing on one thing. So it meant that each time it was just copy paste for each client. So I could get the result a lot faster as well. The other thing is the perceived likelihood of achievement, the perceived likelihood that I'd actually get that result was significantly increased for the client. Because I went, oh, he only does one thing. Of course he's gonna be good at it. That's the idea. So the critical lesson is specificity wins every single time. Broad offers dilute your message, confuse your prospects, and guarantee failure on LinkedIn. When you try to speak to everyone, you end up speaking to no one. That is the truth. So why offer matters more than actual outreach? I will give you an example. I worked at a company where the founder, who had no personal brand, didn't have a profile picture, didn't have a banner, and did no content on LinkedIn either. In 3 months, sold 100,000 through the DMs. It's very powerful, hence why it's what I do. But the key thing was they had an offer which was in demand and people actually wanted. So when they did pitch it to them, it was a no-brainer. They're like, yeah, of course I'm gonna go with your offer because it made sense to the client because it was specific and it meant that they assumed they would actually get the result. That's why. And so most LinkedIn sellers obsess over crafting the perfect connection request or the message sequence, and they spend hours kind of optimizing their templates, testing subject lines, and perfecting their follow-up cadence. However, they're missing that outreach only amplifies what's already there. Same with marketing, it only amplifies what's already there. And I have seen countless times people have not a very good offer, and they assume that if they just load money into ads, that will get them the return they're looking for. But originally, it was already a flawed process because the offer was flawed and it wasn't actually in demand. So it doesn't matter how many ads I show to people because no one wants the offer, no one's gonna buy. And so I've seen companies fail because they were putting so much money into ads, trying to get in front of the right people, when ultimately their offer just wasn't in demand. That's the problem. Weak offer plus perfect outreach equals faster rejection. Strong offer with basic outreach already gives you momentum. If you have a really strong offer, and Alex Hormozi refers to it as a grand slam offer, if you have that and you do outreach to someone, you're already going to get a little bit of success. The perfect scenario is you have a strong offer and you do great outreach, which is where I want to get you to. And this is why I'm going through this. So the amplification effect. Think of outreach as a megaphone. If you're shouting something boring, confusing, or irrelevant, making it louder won't help. But if you have something genuinely valuable and compelling to say, even a whisper will grab attention. Your offer is your message. Your outreach is just the delivery system. Get the message right first, then worry about the delivery. That is the key. So, what are the 4 pillars of a LinkedIn winning offer? The first thing you want to do is you want to start with your skills and past results. Your offer must be built on proven capabilities. It must be something that you can actually do. What have you already achieved? What specific skills do you possess that create tangible outcomes? Don't invent skills. I have seen so many times, and I'll give you an example that I saw last week. Somebody knew that lead gen at the moment is a growing market. It's something that a lot of people want to invest into, right? They decided to get into lead gen, having no previous experience in lead gen, not knowing how to do DMs, content, outreach, whatever it might be. They, of course, failed because they didn't have the proven capabilities of actually doing it. They just saw, oh, people are making money there. I'll do that as well. Doesn't work like that. It's got to be based on fact, something that you know is quantifiable and that you can actually achieve. Number 2 is solve a painful, costly problem. The problem you solve must keep your prospects awake at night or cost them significant money. If the pain isn't acute, they won't pay premium prices or act quickly. The one thing worth mentioning is I want you to do a high ticket offer. You got to solve a really painful problem because then people are willing to pay more. Number 3 is package it into a clear outcome driven service. Transform your skills into a specific service that delivers a measurable outcome. Avoid vague consulting offer, concrete deliverables, and defined timelines. For example, my offer. I help B2B founders at 300K to 3 million annual recurring revenue, double qualified meetings in 21 days. That's it. How easy is that to understand? And I've given a quantifiable time frame and I've given a specific outcome. So the perceived likelihood of achievement is significantly increased because they're like, well, of course he's going to do it in 21 days because it's specific and it's specific to me because I referenced their annual recurring revenue, 300K to 3 million. That's the key. Number 4 is, and this is a framework that Alex Hormozi uses, which is unique, expensive, sticky, air, or easy to deliver. What that means is your offer has to be unique. So it has to have a differentiator from your competition. It has to be expensive, and usually people determine high ticket as from 1K USD upwards. I want to kind of determine it as 3K upwards. That's typically where that's what I would deem as expensive in this sense, because of the people that you're targeting, which are founders. They already have a business, it's probably doing quite a bit of revenue. Sticky. This means that it's a product that they either will continually buy again and again and again. So if you have like a subscription, for example, you're buying it every single month, or it can be something that they buy once, but they have to pay a monthly retainer to keep it. It's very similar, the same as subscription as well. So it's basically like, for example, a sticky product is Coca-Cola. You may have drunk Coca-Cola when you were like 8, for example, and you continued drinking it all the way throughout your life because you drank it once and went, hey, this tastes nice, I'm going to continue drinking this. That's a sticky product. You're buying it over and over again. Though that is what you want. Something that it's not something that they just buy once and then never buy again. That's the key. And then how Alex Hormozi describes it is air. So unique, expensive, sticky air. Air being it's easy to deliver. You can actually deliver it really, really easily and it doesn't cost you much to deliver it. One of the biggest bottlenecks I see in businesses that I speak with is their delivery. They actually have leads and they're doing good marketing, but they do not have the capacity to actually take on those extra clients. That's where they fall down. So make sure it's unique, expensive, sticky, air. So this is the Hormozi Value Equation. You may have seen this if you've read $100 Million Offers, his book, but value equals dream outcome times perceived likelihood of achievement divided by time delay times effort and sacrifice. What this basically means is you want to increase the top. So you want to increase the dream outcome and you want to increase the perceived likelihood of achievement. That's what you got to focus on with your offer. How do I increase the dream outcome being like, what's the best thing that client could get working with you? That's the outcome. And the likelihood that you achieve that. So I say 21 days. Realistically, I can do it in 14, but I would much rather under promise and over deliver than over promise and under deliver. Believe me, it's much better to be the first scenario. And then on the bottom of that equation, you want to decrease it. So I want to decrease the time delay. So basically, when I hand the money over to you, you want to decrease the time that it takes me to get a result or a return on investment. And you also want to decrease the effort and sacrifice for the client. The dream for me would be, I pay someone money and 1 minute later, I get a new client, for example. That would be amazing because I didn't have to put in any effort. I didn't have to sacrifice anything to get that. So you want to increase the dream outcome and likelihood of achievement, and you want to decrease the time delay that it takes to get that and the effort and sacrifice of the client. That is the idea. And every element of your offer should push this equation in your favor. When prospects feel the value far exceeds the investment, price objections disappear, and all these other objections that you may come up against, hey, I need to talk to this person, I need to talk to this key decision maker, it doesn't tend to come up. Because if it's a no-brainer, it's what's called a grand slam offer, they're just gonna buy it. When they believe success is virtually guaranteed with minimal effort from their side, they become eager buyers rather than skeptical prospects. So if you have an offer right now and you present it to the client or the prospect and they don't jump at it immediately, there's a bit of hesitation and you come up against a lot of resistance, it is most likely because something in this equation is out of balance. And so you've just got to identify what that is. And again, this isn't about manipulation to them. Yeah, we're going to do this. Like the worst ones I've seen is, yeah, we'll do all of these things and all these big outcomes. And if we don't, we'll give you your money back. When I see a guarantee like that, I'm like, you're not going to give me my money back because they're doing too much. What this is about giving them clarity. You're helping prospects understand the true value of the transformation that you'll be taking them through. So another thing that Alex Hormozi mentions is offer enhancers. How do you make an offer go from good to irresistible? Number one is risk reversal guarantees. Removes the prospect's fear of making the wrong decision. Strong guarantees don't increase refunds, they increase conversions. When you're confident in your ability to deliver, so like I know I can get the result of 2xing qualified meetings in 21 days because I know I can do it in 14, I can give a guarantee. Hey, if you don't, I'll give you all your money back. Now, the thing is, because I know 99% of the time I can, there's no risk to me, even though I am offering a guarantee. But on the flip side, there's no risk to the prospect because they're like, well, there's a guarantee. If it doesn't work, I can get my money back. That's cool. And also you should put a kind of agreement or contract in place so that this is actually legally binding. That's when I mentioned earlier, that's what most people miss. They never kind of put it in paper that we actually have a guarantee. They might put it in their offer doc, but not in an actual agreement. You should have it there so that the client or the prospect knows, okay, if I pay for this and it doesn't work, I am going to get my money back because they can hold it against you because it was in the agreement. Stick to it. The next thing is strategic bonuses. Add relevant bonuses that make success easier or more likely, not a random extras that dilute your core offer. This is also called like value adding or value stacking. But one of the kind of ways that I've seen this works really, really well is, for example, if your core offer has 3 elements to it, and each of those elements, for argument's sake, costs $5, right? Together, your service costs $15 with those 3 elements that go into creating the offer. But what is better to do is, for one of these things, you charge $15 and you make the other 2 free. That's way better. Because on the client, they're like, I get 2 things free. Now, ultimately, you haven't lost any more money because you're charging the same for all 3, but it's all about the perception of the offer. Wow, I'm getting 2 free things as well? Amazing. That's the idea. The other thing is distinctive naming. Create an outcome of your offer. Make it driven, make it memorable, and position you as a category of one. So when I say to someone, I help you double qualified meetings in 21 days, it's specific. It has a specific outcome and it's labeled. And I call this like the 21-day sprint, basically. And I want to have a name for my offer that's specific. 21-day sprint, double your meetings in 21 days. Sounds good. So instead of LinkedIn marketing services, consider LinkedIn Authority Accelerator, for example, or Executive Visibility System. The one that I've seen comes up a lot at the moment is people being saying like OS, like Funnel OS or Conversion OS, which basically means operating system. It's just a fancy way of naming it so that it sounds unique. That's an example. So the category of one goal, when prospects can't easily compare you to an alternative, price becomes less relevant and your unique value becomes the focus. This is where premium pricing lives. You want to be in your own category and you want to differentiate yourself from your competition, because when there seems to be no alternative, you can charge whatever you like because the price is based on value, not competition. Now that that's kind of gone through the frameworks of your offer, now you've got to know, who am I going to sell your offer to? And I'm going to be giving you a custom GPT to actually do this so that you can build it out at the end. But the power of a niche, why specific sells? To give you an example, broad positioning might be, I help business owners grow. It's vague, low urgency, price focused conversations, long sales cycle, because you're trying to prove to them that you can actually do it. However, if I said, I help SaaS startups acquire their first 1,000 customers in 90 days, it's immediate relevance to SaaS startups, urgent problem recognition, value focused, and it helps them make a faster decision because they want to pay the money so they get the result. That's what I did. The other thing is the psychology of specificity. When you speak to someone, prospects think, this might help me, but it's not specifically designed for my situation. They want to know that what you're selling is for them. When you speak to a specific group, this is exactly what I've been looking for. They understand my world. The best quote that I absolutely love is, people don't buy when they understand. They buy when they feel understood. You've got to make them feel understood, and that is through your offer and making sure that you've tied that offer to a specific avatar or a specific audience. That way, they know that the perceived likelihood of achievement is significantly increased, but also the dream outcome. Hey, this is for me. Of course I'm going to get that result. It's all about these things. So specific offers create immediate relevance, narrow positioning enables premium pricing, focused messaging cuts through LinkedIn noise, and targeted solutions build expert authority. Pick your starving crowd before polishing the offer. A perfect solution for the wrong audience is still worthless. The example, which is on the screen, is about a bow and arrow, or archery, I don't want to call it. And basically, it's like the more specific you get, the closer you are to the bullseye. So if you can get super specific, the likelihood that you hit the bullseye is significantly increased. That's what you want to do. So there are 5 criteria that you have to make sure your avatar or your audience have. Number 1 is a painful, urgent problem. They're actively seeking solutions, not passively interested in improvements. The problem costs them money, sleep, or reputation. Without urgency, you'll face endless thinking about it. This is the other thing. If you ever come up against the thinking about it objection, or consistently am, it's because maybe the problem they want to solve isn't urgent enough to justify the purchase now. The other thing is budget authority. You want to know that they can actually afford your solution, and this is also called purchasing power. You want to make sure they have the purchasing power to buy what you're selling. And I've seen so many times, someone has a really good offer, but the avatar that they're targeting does not have the money to afford the offer. Got to make sure that they do. The other thing is decision-making authority. You've got to make sure you're actually talking to the person who can make the decision. And all of these 5 has to be present if you want to sell on LinkedIn. And this also goes for if you want to do marketing, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, these also apply. But they have to be the decision maker. So it could be the CEO, the founder, the chief marketing officer if you're helping with marketing services. Just something or someone that you know, okay, if I present the solution, they have the ability to purchase. That's what I do. The other thing is a growing market. I'm not going to get into newspapers anytime soon because that is a decreasing market. Who buys a newspaper? We just look at our phones, see the news, cool. Doesn't happen. So you want to make sure you get into a growing market so that you know this business model that you have can go for 10, 15, 20 years because you've got into a growing market. That is the idea. Make sure you get into a growing market. Now, if you want to specifically sell on LinkedIn, you've got to make sure that you can actually access these people on LinkedIn. You've got to make sure that they're active and that they are posting. I know that's a weird one, but if they're posting or reposting, you know that they've been active on the platform in the last 30 days. Because after 30 days, if they don't have any posts, it means they haven't been active. So that is a key one that I'll give to you that you can use to your advantage. So what is the action plan? And I'm going to walk you through doing this with the GPT right now, but craft your 1-sentence offer. I help specific avatar achieve specific result in time frame without major friction/obstacle. For example, I help B2B SaaS founders close their first 1 million annual recurring revenue in 18 months without burning through runway. Cool, more money. I help consultants build LinkedIn authority that generates 20K a month revenue without constant content creation. It's specific, it's targeted. That's what you're looking for. Then we need to select a singular avatar. Choose one type of person who experiences genuine pain and urgency, has budget, you generally enjoy working with them long term. That's a key one. I know some people who choose an avatar because they're like, hey, they can afford my service and they need it, but they hate working with them. Don't do that. And that you can easily find them and reach them on LinkedIn. Number 3 is using the Offer Strategist GPT, and I will be putting this in the comments as well so you can access it, but I'm going to walk you through now exactly what you need to do. The first thing, and this is the only caveat to using the GPT, you got to give it context. So either you can, if you haven't built an offer before and this is your first time, get a Google Doc, write down every single thing that you have accomplished. And again, the GPT will give you examples of what you can write in this document, but it could be like previous experience, outcomes that you got for other clients, where you've previously worked, influencers, for example, Alex Hormozi, Imagazi, Dan Martel, whatever, that you watch on YouTube and that you're learning their frameworks. Put it all in that document. And that can be context that you can give to the GPT. Now on the flip side, if you have an offer, you just can use it to refine it. You can go, hey, here's my 1-pager or what my offer is now, help me refine it. So let's go through it. Cool. So once you've opened up the GPT, what you want to do is you want to click start, go off, give it a second. And what you need is you need that document that I was just mentioning. So this will be able to give you examples. There you go. So on that document, you can include skills, achievements, career history, case studies, services delivered, frameworks, whatever it might be. Now, I've already done this in advance. So let me just put in my one. Give me 1 second. Cool. Right, put that in there. Let it do its thinking time. And again, you can put this in any format, Word, Google Doc. Just download it onto your computer and then you can just chuck it straight into GPT. Cool. So that's how I'm going to search through, and it's going to extract monetizable skills within that sheet. And again, if you already have an offer, just put in what your offer is now and it'll be able to extract what that is. Cool. Achievements. So it's just kind of giving me a summary. So from that, it has an offer breakdown. So for example, dream outcome. And again, all of this that it's giving me is based on data. I've made sure that it's trained on data so it knows what to give you that's actually in demand, the offer itself and the avatar to target. So dream outcome, close 10K plus B2B deals using LinkedIn DMs, even with no sales experience. Cool. Proof of SaaS experience, I closed 550K in 6 months. Multiple client results, I helped clients close 3K or about 16K deals, and I was the top sales rep at a lead gen company. Cool. Delivery method, coaching plus done for you or done with you hybrid. So there are only 3 ways that you can deliver a service. Is done for you. So this is where you actually, for example, you actually just deliver them something. So you're like, hey, here you go, here's a funnel, for example. Pre-built, all done, you don't have to do anything. That's what done for you is. So in the client side, they don't have to do anything. But the caveat for you is it's a lot more work to do done for you because you've got to do everything. The next one is done with you. So you might give them, for example, a program to go through, but you may have a coaching call each week. So you're doing it with them. They're going through the resources and you're helping them alongside. The last one is do it yourself. You give them everything they need to achieve the specific outcome themselves. That's do it yourself. You just got to decide which one would you prefer. So it's also created for me an offer statement. I help B2B founders and consultants close 10K plus deals in 30 to 60 days using LinkedIn DMs, even if they hate sales or have 0 sales experience. It also given me a unique value proposition statement. So again, very similar to the offer statement, just in a bit more detail. So like using psychology-driven scripts without ads, cold calls, or sales teams. This is just like what you would write in the offer doc, for example, and when you're explaining what your offer is. So now it's going to validate what ideal client profile or customer profile fits this offer. And again, using data. So it says that I could target solo or small B2B service founders. The pain/trigger that they have is they struggle to consistently close high ticket clients, but dependent on referrals and get ghosted on outreach. Cool. Ability to pay medium to high. They have decision maker, founder, CEO, principal, consultant. That's what you're looking for. And it's also giving you a reason of why this ICP works. Why is ICP meaningful? The B2B environment is under stress. So again, it's, you know, those elements that you want to make sure is prevalent with your avatar. So for example, they're in pain, they have purchasing power, they're in a growing market. And what was the last one? Pain, purchasing power, growing market, easy to target. That's the other one. It's giving you data-backed reasons on those 4 elements, which is really nice. Cool. Offer validation and market check. Pain/urgency, high, they have budget, market trend. So is it growing? Access to decision maker, can you target them? And can they actually afford it? It's also giving you a little metric, which is quite nice, which is if you net 3 clients a month at 7,500 each, you can be at 22,500 a month. And what you can do is you can speak to them and go, okay, how likely is it that I can achieve that with the skills that I have? And you can go back and forth and refine it over time. It's then done an execution snapshot. So just everything in a nice little table. And what I would recommend is just saying to it, can you create me a 1-pager with my offer and avatar? And then I would just chuck that into a document, and then you just have that in your back pocket for everything that you do. There you go. So it's giving you a little 1-pager of everything that we've just gone through so that you can just reference back to that. So that is a very easy way to build your offer and define your avatar to sell on LinkedIn. The next episode, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at how to build the perfect LinkedIn profile that actually converts people who view your profile, send you a connection request, engage with your content, and it just gives you the perfect foundation before you do outreach. I will see you in the next video.